Constructing radically new, user-friendly politics from within. I am Peter Challen, speaking for Brian Wills. Brian writes on the way political and economic power affects our lives, with particular reference to recent turbulent events in Greece, and about how citizens become invigorated when they volunteer to transform it. But let me begin by recounting a little-known fact about the French Revolution. Before the Bastille was stormed on 14th of July 1789, the Estates General, composed of aristocrats, clergy, and the Third Estate, had already proposed a constitution that would share power with King Louis XVI. Fed up with slow progress as the demand for change was gathering popular support, the Third Estate began calling themselves the National Assembly. On 20th of June, they were locked out of the Assembly Hall by the King's troops. So they met in an adjacent tennis court, and all except one of them took the now famous oath not to separate until the constitution of the kingdom was established. This action, a political event seeking power with, lasted little more than 3 weeks before the bloodshed began. This initiated the era of European turmoil that extended through the Napoleonic Wars, the year of revolution in 1848, and the 2 World Wars, all of which were, of course, disputed power over events. Fast forward to 1951, when Robert Schuman, France's foreign minister, proposed setting up the power-sharing European coal and steel community to make war not only unthinkable, but materially impossible. Its creation a year later, when welfare state social security services were also being initiated in Europe, seemed for many to usher in a future of stable political and economic development. But Daly and Cobb, in their book For the Common Good, reveal how the globalisation that followed diminished the power of nation-states to control their own economic destinies. A chart titled Alternative Measures of Economic Welfare clearly shows that while national GDPs went on rising, the index for sustainable welfare began to flatten in the 1970s and then dropped in the 1980s. So it is no surprise that their subtitle reads, Redirecting the Economy Towards Community, the Environment and a Sustainable Future. But who now has the power and inclination to do this? The events of the debt crisis in Greece reveal that popular will expressed through representative democracy and the ideal of a unified Europe composed of nations collaborating for the common good are trumped by the need for financial probity demanded by what has been graphically called the global monetocracy. The American journalist Chris Hedges considers the devastation it continues to cause to our lives and planet can be reversed only through revolution. Naomi Klein, in This Changes Everything, does not advocate anything so drastic, but points out there is a rich populist history of progressives winning victories for social and economic justice in the midst of large-scale crises. You make sure you have enough people on your side to change the balance of power and take on those responsible, knowing that true populist movements always draw from both the left and the right. By contrast, 2015 constitutionalists addressing progressives in the UK suggest that a more effective way forward is to encourage individual citizens to stand in general and by-elections as independent candidates, advocating political and economic change on the basis of an evolving constitutionalist charter. Cleverly, this strategy, which uses the system to become the system and thus change the system, means progressives can move on from confrontational talk of revolution or of having enough people on your side and begin to construct radically new, user-friendly politics from within. To this end, self-organizing cells are forming themselves as support groups for future constitutionalist candidates. They are composed of volunteers who understand what sensitive cooperation is required of them in a campaign that aims to share power at every level of increasing self-organizing complexity. A clear explanation of how this works is given in Madron and Joplin's book about Gaian democracies. They compare the activities of a volunteer to that of a footballer contributing his or her skills to the collaborative skill of the team, i.e. Level 1. Level 2 is the team, functioning within a managerial structure, Level 3, itself a participant in the National League, Level 4. The whole can thus be seen as interacting self-organizing systems, each one depending on the others in order to function effectively. For those familiar with Arthur Koestler's terminology, which offers a bottom-up alternative to the top-down concept of hierarchy, Level 4 is a holarchy comprising its 3 constituent holons. The good news we draw from this is that it doesn't matter at what level a volunteer offers his or her support. He or she can begin to enjoy participating in an open-minded, creative way of doing politics. To quote from Madron and Jopling again, there are substantial practical benefits derived from the much better quality decisions that arise from the much more comprehensive range of information and ideas that active citizens generate and integrate. In support, they cite research in which almost all who have taken part in genuine participative processes say they would like to repeat the experience, and that active participation in political decision-making dramatically increases the number of people say they are very happy. So it is no surprise that Wordsworth wrote, "Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive," when he experienced the fervour for change in Paris during the Revolution. And the message to volunteers is obvious. Now that the Greek crisis proves representative democracy has no power over our financial elite, and a minority of UK voters have allowed the Conservatives to win the last election, there are feel-good benefits to be gained from collaborating with others, working for constitutional change in a pragmatically principled organisation devoid of party political affiliations. Clearly, a new dawn beckons. But this time, the revolution will be bloodless, and it will be infused with the vision that, through the ballot box, each citizen becomes a trustee of the country's good governance. Brian Wills lives in France, yet is a valued contributor by correspondence to the Strategy Forum of the 2015 Constitutionalists. Will you also contribute? Thank you.